Once upon a time, two men decided if they were making the cut. Then they made the cut. And now JT and Aaron are talking everything from wrestling to pop culture and beyond, because it's no holds barred.
Will you back down, turn and run, or stand up with the best? When your back to the wall, what will your answer be? Will you run for the door? Will you run out on me like it's hard?
It's a no holds barred.
Mario.
That's my tribute to the new Super Mario Brothers movie.
Mm-hmm.
I guess by the time this is airing, probably.
Why did they bury Omos?
Omos wasn't buried.
Why did they bury Finn Balor?
Finn Balor.
Why'd they bury Drew McIntyre and Sheamus?
Because Drew McIntyre's leaving. That's fine. WrestleMania 39 is in the books, and as we have done annually for the last couple of years, Aaron, we're going to give our quick thoughts, and then we're going to update our all-time WrestleMania rankings and slot this in. So our greatest world title change ever project's taking this rotation off. It'll be back in 2 weeks after another draft, but we wanted to pop in and do this. It's become a little bit of a tradition post-Mania for us.
Yes.
And they've been good Manias, so it's been fun to kind of talk about them and slot them in, no? Okay.
I don't know. I'm going to start off by saying that I cannot.
Miserable prick.
I'm going to start off by saying that I'm really struggling to make my mind up about this show. That's where I'm at with it.
Okay.
39. I don't.
How did you feel after night one?
Similar to how I felt after night two. I felt that there was no difference in the nights almost.
All right. After night one, I felt really good. I was like,
well,
this is a great show.
So here's where I struggle. It's like the matches.
You liked it.
I can't. I think the matches are incredible, right? So like you're watching this wrestling show, and the matches are good. They're incredible. They're good. There's nothing but good stuff going on.
Good and incredible.
Yeah.
That's been established. Yes. Okay.
But then you have to kind of like, why aren't you excited or enjoying the show? Yeah. So, but that's what I mean. So that's where I'm at with it. It's like, okay, I'm watching these great matches back to back, and I'm not even denying they're good or they're great. But I leave the shows like at night one and night two very much just, okay, I watched the show. It's and like there's been times where like, you know, you watch a great wrestling show and you're like, holy shit, I can't wait to see what they do next.
Right.
Or, oh my God, that was so good. And you're pumped up after, you know, or there's it goes the other way where it's like, what the fuck are they doing? You know what I mean? Like, this is so stupid. The guys can't work, you know, or whatever, you know, whatever you say. But I'm not leaving these shows with any of that. I'm leaving them with like apathy. And I thought a lot about it. And I over the last couple of days, because I was like, why? Like, why does this keep happening? And something I keep coming back to in my head is the balance in your head.
Sheamus.
I think there's a lack of, or there's not a balance anymore of substance and spectacle. I think that there's where I've liked wrestling the best is where there's kind of a bit of a balance or like a slight imbalance. I find what we're getting now is all substance. No, excuse me, all spectacle.
I was going to say.
Yeah, it's so good. No, it's all spectacle. And that's where I'm trying, because I'm trying to figure out why I'm not excited by this great wrestling that I always thought I wanted. Right. And I think that might be it. Is that it's
I think our lives are just flipped from where that we needed wrestling to be. Like when we were all super move freaks on blogs, jacking it to the vanilla midgets, right? We were all like, you know, this is what we want. And that's what we have now, right? Like,
yeah.
And now we kind of want all the shit that was like looked down upon by back
funny, eh?
then, right? Like big hosses beating the shit out of each other,
Yeah.
you know, character stuff, all the stuff we didn't want anymore. We don't have now that we want it. So it feels like maybe, I don't know if it's just us being fickle or if it's us just at times of our lives doesn't sync up with what we're being presented in the world of wrestling overall.
Well, here's my question with that. Do you think do you foresee that, say, in 10 years you're gonna want that kind of like back to the crash and bang?
No, I mean,
Me neither. And that's there's often a saying like where like wrestling, didn't you outgrow that?
right.
And I found like there was a time, and maybe I'm just too old, to like appreciate it. Maybe it's this incredible thing that's happening that for whatever reason to click with me. But I found like in the early years there was like at least in WWF, and I would imagine you feel this way too. The product grew up with us in the same way that like the Harry Potter books grow up with
Right.
the readers, right? But maybe there's a plateau.
Yeah, I think that growth just ends in your 20s.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I find myself in a boat where, if this was like 10 years ago, even, so not even that long ago, like early 30s, I probably would have spent a good 2 hours arguing online about that show, like on Twitter, on
Right.
Facebook, in group chat, whatever. I would have been like, let's go up till 3 a.m, bitching, pissing, and moaning. And I don't think it has to do with my engagement in the product because I didn't really give that much of a shit in 2011, 2012. And I don't think it's particularly great in that time period. But Scott and I doing podcasts, like you go back and listen, like our energy, right, was different because we were arguing about booking and shit still. And I would say I gave that up around like 2016, 2017 for me. And maybe it just coincides with where I was in my life, that I'm just too tired to really care or get upset. And I find myself having the same experience with sports, where I still am a diehard for my teams. I still want them to win, but the losses don't linger like they used to. Like,
Right.
I'd go to bed after a Yankees Red Sox series on a Sunday night, and I wouldn't sleep. I'd be so friggin' pissed if they got swept or dropped 2 or 3. The Jets had a bad loss. I'd go to bed. Now it's commonplace, but back then it was.
Well, you got used to it. Right?
They were still in it. And now it's like, whatever. Like I find that I don't even UConn winning the bat. Like I hate UConn, and even when they won, I was like, whatever. Next year. Like so, it's like I think I'm just getting older and just more just too exhausted for the fight. And I think that's where I'm at with wrestling, in that I find myself just kicking back in it, enjoying it as a social activity with friends, and not caring as much about the outcomes, who wins, who loses, how it's booked, because I think individual shows to me and the experience behind them. WrestleMania Night 1, I thought back, I think it's the only WrestleMania in my life that I watched live on my own. There's some I missed. I was away or out or at college or whatever. But I think I had at least one other person, even if it was my dad sleeping in the chair, I think I at least had like one other person in the room with me every other WrestleMania, whether it was a big party, whether it was just a few friends, whether it was live at the show. It hit me that night. I'm like, I've never sat here on my own on WrestleMania night and just watched the show. And I enjoyed it still. And I was like upset that I wasn't going, especially once the pictures started coming in for the few guys that went. Like, I was like, damn, this is like every year I go. It sucks to miss it. I had the whole thing with the softball tour. I thought I was going to miss the show even watching it. And I was preconditioning myself to dislike it, right? I'm like, whatever, I'm not going to be there. I'm watching it alone. And I ended up really enjoying it. And, I listened to the Twitch. I was talking to, you guys all in the chat. And like, I thought it was a very good show, to the point where I actually watched the press conference for a bit after and like kind of went to bed thinking about it, which I hadn't done. So I enjoyed it greatly. And I left that night thinking, wow, like if Night 2 delivers, like this, where's it going to be? And Ryan and I talked about it, right? We did the preview show on the YouTube channel, which is, I didn't mention that before, but this is video and audio. If you're listening, we're doing this on video. Subscribe. And on that night, before Night 1, I said to him, like, when the night ends, are we going to say this could be a great Mania? And we agreed, potentially, yes. When we did the preview show for Night 2, we talked about it again, and we're like, how do you feel? And we both felt it had the potential to maybe be a top 5 show. if
Hmm.
night 2 delivered in our eyes. So that's where I felt going into night 2. I now feel like it's probably in the 10-ish range. We're going to talk about it tonight.
Mhm.
And I don't even care about the finish. Like, to me, yeah. What did you think about that?
So I don't care who wins and loses like anymore.
right.
Like I mean, but what I do care about is how they win or lose. Because I'm going to say something that I think it goes against a lot of things that a lot of people love, but like there's something wrong for me with the whole Reigns storyline.
Right.
And I was thinking a lot about it, and I think a couple things I came to is I feel there's a really weird incongruity in the way they present him on TV and talk about him, and then the way his matches go, which I think is interesting.
Mhm.
I've never seen this with anyone before, except when they're covering Cena. Like, oh, the
Right.
crowd's going crazy for Cena. But like, so they talk him up as though he's just running through guys like Goldberg. He's a dominant, undefeated champion. But he's kind of booked like the Honky Tonk Man every pay-per-view. And it's strange. When
did that start? Because I feel like it wasn't the whole time.
Well, here we go. So he's got 19 title defenses, okay, on pay-per-view, right?
In this reign.
Yeah, forget the other reign. Of the 19, he's got 4 clean wins.
Were they all early?
Okay, the first one was he beats Jay.
Mhm.
The second one he beats Jay. Actually, sorry, he's got 5. He's got 20 and 5, excuse me. He beats Jay. And then you go all the way until he beats Cesaro.
So he didn't beat Bryan and Edge clean?
No, the WrestleMania, I'm talking about pay-per-view, right? There was always
Well, that was WrestleMania.
Yeah, the low blows, Paul Heyman helping. Oh, that's 38, excuse me. WrestleMania 37, Usos in the ring, super kicking them. It's every... See, and this is the problem I have with it. Again, I don't care about the finish one way or the other. I don't care if Cody Rhodes wins. I have ideas about what I think is better, but Jackson, my son, was watching with me, and he asked me, who do you want to win? And my honest answer to him was, well, there's probably positives and negatives to each.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it was one of the rare times for them in modern times where, like, they actually had 2 options, and it was tough, and they both had positives and negatives. Like, usually it's like, they make the wrong call because one decision was real bad. But I think it's defensible. I think it's such an overreaction right now that, like, people are acting like this was... I saw someone compare it today to what if Shawn Michaels beat Stone Cold at WrestleMania 14. Like, in what world is Cody Rhodes suddenly 97-98 Steve Austin? And by the way, Roman Reigns doesn't have a broken back and a drug problem and is like strung out. I mean, like Reigns is still, whether he's being booked as such as you're going into or not, he's still great and in his prime in the ring. Like, we're not, putting a shell of a guy over this like all-time star on the rise. I mean, it's like the hyperbole is getting a little crazy.
Yeah, and the thing I hate about that hyperbole too, and I find this about many different arguments, is that like the actual nuanced discussion in it gets thrown in with the people. Oh, you're mad because Cody. You know what I mean? Like, again,
the opposite. You're just a defender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, look, I don't, like I said, I don't care. For me, like, in an ideal world, what was so exciting about the Roman Reigns when he started was that he was really presented as a super dominant heel against Jay. Like, he didn't need help. He was merciless. He beat the shit out of you. Like, and I was like, whoa, this is different. This is where you're going to go with this guy.
Right.
Because you have the personal nature of it, and you have this dynamic that they don't do enough of. The only guy they ever did it with was Brock, but this was different because it had all these personal hooks in it, right?
Yeah.
But that goes away super fast. And then we're into...
But you don't think they're still booking it like he's like he's built this bloodline group up to protect him? I mean...
Look, it's very possible. It's very possible.
I don't feel like it's like a chicken shit thing where he's like trying to get counted out or DQ'd.
No.
It's just that he's got like a deep like bucket of tricks that he can lean on to ensure his spot is always protected.
I think that's a great storyline. That's not what they're telling on commentary.
Well,
And
you're right. It's what they're showing.
yeah, they're not, but they're telling us and beating us into the head with the other stuff, right?
Right. That he's dominant. Yeah.
And again, the thing with the interference is like I think that's a fine character. Look, I don't mind if they pivot to that character, right? If I mean, I don't mind anything really, to be honest. But like every match is the exact same ending.
Yeah.
Like it's like when Solo got thrown out of the match in the Cody match, I actually got excited. Not because I was like, oh, Cody might win, but because, oh, they're going to do something different.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the struggle I have with it. And that's the struggle. I'm constantly like you're constantly hearing this is the best story. This is the great it's up there with the greatest stories of all time. And and if you think that's true, I'm happy for you and I want you to have that. I'm not here to take it away from you at all, not that I could. But for me, that story stopped being told in early 2021, which was like as soon as they got away from that personal stuff. I think that little bracket is like all time incredible. And then so you got the incongruity, you got the same thing, and always the same match finishes. And so
which is why I liked that match so much until the end. When Cody started doing the Dusty stuff into the Crossroads, I'm like, this is it. Like, I don't think they could have found a better way to end that reign than Cody taking a shit kicking, hulking up, doing his dad's classic moveset, and then hitting his finisher 5 times. Like that. And for the record, even though I'm saying, like, I think both sides had positives, and I could see why they went the way they did. If it's me in the chair, I think I'm just going with the Cody moment. I think that crowd, as hot as he was, they would have exploded, and they actually booked that match to near perfection if Cody wins with those 4 Crossroads. After the figure 4, the flip-flop and fly, just pulverizing Reigns with Crossroads, like, it would have felt like a real crowning moment. And you're there. But I get it. I get the balance, because you look at it, you have two things, right? You have Cody, who probably won't ever be this hot again in this moment, in this crowd, with this story, coming off the injury, blah, blah, blah. Then you have Roman. Once you end this reign, you're never getting back to that moment. He's not going to have another 1,000-day reign with the bloodline. Like, this is it. So you have to be absolutely sure you want this to end, right? And I think this is what they ran into with the NWO, right? It's like, once Sting beats Hogan clean and the NWO breaks up, you're not getting the magic back. The problem is it went too long and they lost the magic anyway and didn't take the moment. So what Duty has to make sure they are confident in is that they can still get the moment before this goes off the rails. And it hasn't yet. I know it's not on par with what you're hoping it to be, but it's still like a lot of engagement and it's still entertaining, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So I just think they have to find that moment before that ends.
Yeah, I think they've had a couple of opportunities that
they had 2 in 2 months.
Yeah, that they didn't take.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you had to, at all, but those are going to start drying up.
Yeah.
Right. And my worry is that I don't know if will the Bloodlines, and maybe it will, maybe I'll be wrong, but will the Bloodline story ever be as good and as engaging as it was from Survivor Series until Elimination Chamber? And if you can't get it up there again, then maybe it's best to shift it over.
Well, I see people saying like, oh, they're just going to run the redemption for Cody. He's going to beat all the dragons, win the Rumble again or Money in the Bank or whatever, and do it next year. And it's like, damn, like, you think he's going to stay hot for that whole year? You're going to give Reigns another year and Cody's going to, like, this was the moment to give Cody. Why are we now projecting a year out for Cody? Like,
yeah. And look, I don't wish injury on anyone, but that injury really helped him.
Yes, of course.
Because he could have gotten stale in the September, October months doing nothing with
he was red hot coming back and it was set up. You couldn't have asked for a better moment. And I think, it's similar to Bryan probably in 15, ironically enough, with Reigns, but Sammy getting over and losing made the expectation in place that Cody was going to win. Because everyone said, like, Sammy only lost because they want Cody to be the guy, right? And then when he lost, it made the Sammy loss sting even more. Because it's like, okay, But I don't want to take the Sammy Kevin moment away either. So I think in retrospect it worked out because I think him and Owens
Yeah.
beating the Usos was really cool. And you could argue maybe it was more special to them personally to win in LA as a tag team and close Mania together in the main event, right? Like I think they'd probably say like they take that. I would venture. But yeah, I mean, could Jay be the guy? Do they go that route?
Well,
Do they tell that story and Jay beats him?
At this point, like, look, that's the ending of the story.
Yeah.
Like, but Jay doesn't have to be the guy that beats him for the title.
He's just gonna screw him.
No, he could. Well, he could beat him and send him out of the promotion or injure.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
the championship doesn't have to be at play. I think it. Yeah, because that's the story. That's how the story started, right? And at this point, when you keep chopping those guys, because Sammy would have worked as an option, but like now it has to be from within, and it's going to feel cheap if it's anyone other than Jay.
Yeah. Or I guess if you want to try Cody at SummerSlam and do it there, he beats Brock over the I don't know, maybe that's their plan. Try and extend it get him to the 1,000 days and then whatever. But yeah.
See, I would like them to, in my dream world, what they do is they start slowly breaking the bloodline off.
Right.
And every time one breaks off, Reigns actually gets stronger.
Right.
Like it's like he relied too much on them.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then you finally, when they're all gone, he's as strong and as worrisome as he was when he was beating the shit out of Jay, right?
Right.
Yeah. And again, it's like, see, I love the main event of night one.
I think they want that Rock match, right?
I know, but it's not.
I don't think anyone cares.
Yeah.
They want it.
It's not the right match for a championship.
No, they want Rock and Reigns to tell that story. I think that's what it is. I think they're hoping one more year will get them to Rock and Reigns at WrestleMania.
But it's this obsession. It doesn't have to be for the championship.
Right. Yeah. It could be non-title. Right.
Because you don't want The Rock to come back and win the championship. You know?
No,
like,
I think Reigns beats him if they fight.
Well, that's it. But then you've, it reminds me of like the lost years of 2012 and 2011, where they knew they were just waiting for Cena Rock.
Yeah.
And in that time, they didn't establish anybody else.
Yeah.
So what did you think of the main event tag match of night one?
I like that a lot. I thought it was awesome. I thought the story the heat was crazy. I love the finish. I think they did a couple of good teases toward the end too. And it was hard not to feel good about that moment. And they've told the story well from the aspect that I kept waiting for Owens to maybe screw him, right? And it kept kind of, oh, is this it? Is this it? And then they didn't do it and gave them the moment. Was really cool. I think the press conference is actually must-see watch to like even appreciate that even more. Like to see how they handle that, how happy they were. Owens eating the Snickers, like all that stuff was pretty good. And I love that they incorporated him on night two in the main event. Like I thought, I felt like the Super Friends coming to save Sting, and that's why I thought that was the moment to make Cody win. I actually thought the main event was booked so well up until the finish. It's like, man, they did it perfect. Owens and Sammy are out. We're gonna have a super face squad on the top against the Bloodline. You got Sammy, Cody, Owens. They run off the Usos. Cody melts down Reigns and beats him, and it seemed like they were right there.
And I could have lived even in that world with everything, with like Cody then getting caught in the guillotine and passing out. You know what I mean? Like like he manages to pull out something. I could have lived with. I just want it to be different.
Yeah.
So did the amount of super kicks get to you?
I'm used to it since the Young Bucks super kick party in 2013. Like it's been super kick mania since then.
But I don't know, man.
Everywhere.
I find that the Uso super kicks, and this is going to sound so stupid, but I find that like they've been presented as like almost one kill shots or two kill shots a lot of the time, as opposed to the Young Bucks. And I wasn't uncomfortable watching it, but I was very much like, oh, come on. Like he can't get up from this. Like he's
right.
Like he just can't. Like his brain is finished forever, right?
Right.
And the only thing I will say is I've never been one to dislike a bit of the histrionics. Like I have no issue with I'm sorry, I love you and stuff like that. But if you are someone who doesn't like those things, I don't know how you get through that main event match.
Yeah.
Because it was take that and turn it all the way.
I know, but that's been the story. Like I like the finish, the haluva kicks and everything. Like it felt cathartic for Sammy to wipe them out.
I'm glad Sammy got to pin him. And
Yeah.
got to pin.
Yeah, I had no issue with that. I mean, I like that match. I thought the men's showcase tag was awesome. 9-minute sprint. I thought they crushed it with the 9 minutes they had. I liked Rollins, Logan Paul a lot, but I'm also a Logan Paul apologist in WWE. I think he's great.
I like it too.
And like, so the whole thing with KSI, right? Like everyone's like, who the fuck is KSI? Like, so the next morning I showed my son, who's huge into YouTube, Logan Paul, knows him, knows all the stuff. Is, you know, we had Cases of Prime. Like he's into that culture, right? He knows it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, you got to see this. I'm like, Logan Paul was on. He had this big Prime bottle, and you got to guess who's in it. I want him to guess who's in it. So I put it on. Logan Paul is on halfway down the fucking ramp to begin the match, and he's like, oh, it's KSI, and I'm like, what? I'm like, how did you know that? He's like, well, it's his business partner. This. I'm like, so then. Before I can even fast forward to the table spot, he's already pulled it up on Logan Paul's Instagram on his iPad and watched the clip that they posted from like the shot behind KSI. And I'm like, you know, and he's 8. Like, right? So like, to me, this is why they do Logan Paul and like, it's a whole culture. So I don't get like anyone who complains about that. I haven't seen too much on this one. It's a little bit of a straw man, but I feel like there was in the past with the Logan Paul stuff. But like that resonated big time with me. When I'm like, shit, I'm like, this is who they're targeting with this stuff. Like he knew KSI by his legs when he was walking out. Like, you know, is like, this is the culture.
Logan Paul could end up being, I mean, I don't know, we'll see, but he could end up being as important a signing as someone like Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, and I think it's one of the few times they have finger on the pulse completely.
Yeah.
Of like current on the pulse of current. So I like that match a lot. I loved Ray and Dom. I thought that was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Rhea Charlotte was awesome. The McAfee thing was stupid, but I like Pat, so I'm not going to shit on it. You know, I think they fucked Lashley. I really thought Brock was going to squash Omos even more, and Lashley was going to come out, and him and Brock were going to fight. They just kind of give him the Jimmy Snuka walk out with the trophy.
Yeah.
I mean, Gunther. You know, I have probably a top 3 IC title match ever at Mania.
Yeah.
Bianca Asuka was good. Shane blowing out his quad, I'll forever laugh. It's all time WrestleMania moment. If we did the moments draft, that would be my number 1 potentially. The Cell, I think, benefited from really low expectations. It only goes 18 minutes, which to me felt like a gift. And I really,
but like 30 minutes of intros, though.
Yeah, but I expected it to be a lot more drawn out and masturbatory. And then
why do they have to play 2 entrances for Edge? Why can't he just do one or the other?
Where the fuck was Gangrel? I'm so tired of getting suckered in with these rumors. This is like the 3rd time he was supposed to be there with him, and he wasn't. And then the main event, 35 minutes. I think I read it was the 3rd longest WrestleMania match ever.
Oh yeah.
He had the Iron Man, obviously, is number 1. Number 2 is gonna be WrestleMania 2000, right? That main event.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, and then this. So, and I like that. So, I mean, all in all, I really liked this WrestleMania. Like, I think the crowd was awesome for both nights. Like, they were engaged in pretty much everything. They didn't quiet down too much. Yeah. I liked the pageantry of it. I thought, especially night 1, there was really no bullshit. Like, I thought they really kind of chugged along through that show.
Yeah.
I thought Cole was. I know you don't like Michael Cole, but I thought he was really good on the show. Like,
I don't mind him. And lately,
his energy was great. I mean, the energy, and even Graves, the energy they keep up through both nights of those shows are crazy. Like in the main event of night 2, he's still losing his fucking mind through the whole thing.
Yeah, just a couple things that he does that drive me insane. Like,
I know, but it seems like he's a guy that like it's almost like Shivani. It's like a guy that rediscovered his love for wrestling in the last 2 years, and like can't wait to tell you about it. Like that's what it feels like with Cole. Like
there's a genuine enthusiasm from him. I appreciate it. And we got Titus O'Neil too.
Yeah, he was great too.
Call the police.
Awesome.
So then with all this good stuff, why am I left feeling empty with it?
Yeah, I don't know. You just don't care enough about it. I don't mean in a bad way. I think you just.
But I do. You know, like I really do. There's also so much sing along now. It's a whole different problem, I guess.
You're tired. You're old and tired, and that's where I'm at. You're too old and tired to really find that fire for it. Because as much as I liked it and buzzed about it, like if I had to sit here right now and tell you the card without looking at Wikipedia, I probably couldn't. But I
Yeah.
could run down the entire WrestleMania 6 card for you. Like, so it's like,
Yeah.
it's just kind of where we're at. Like, it's just as you get older, I think your short-term memory fades, and you know,
Yeah.
onto we do so many things nowadays. Like, you know, back then between shows felt like forever. You go from WrestleMania 6 just to Superstars, felt like a month went by.
Yeah.
Now it's like we're just got so much shit going on. It's like you're not. It's like I can't even take time to process it. You know what I mean? So I just kind of enjoy it in the moment. And
Yeah.
like I said, to me, it's become a social thing. Whether I'm talking to friends in chat, whether we're on Skype bullshitting, or I got a couple people in the room, it's like, or going live. To me, it's become a big social aspect for it. If I was alone without chat groups and like doing these podcasts and stuff, I don't know. I don't know if I'd watch
Yeah.
it.
I don't know if I would either, but it's a strange thing because like I'm watching through WCW. I'm into 94 now.
Yeah.
I'm invested in that, and I'd never watched that before.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like there's something, but you know, um, well, look, where are we thinking for this thing? Like, okay, if we go from our original list, why don't we start at the bottom?
No, we're here. All right. So first, after night one, I was thinking like this has like WrestleMania 20, 30 level potential.
Right.
That's where I was. I was in like, I think Ryan and I said like top 5. I said I probably won't pass 17, 19, or probably not 3. I said, but I think 20, 30. I think in the conversation, definitely with 20.
Yeah.
And that's our top 5, you and I. And then we have WrestleMania 22, then 10, then 8, then 7, then 24. That's our top 10.
Yeah.
As of last time we did this. I think this is the latest one. I don't know. I know we did it a couple times.
Yeah.
Is this F38 in there? Yeah. Okay. So WrestleMania 37, I know the night we did that, we were super high on it. I think we had it inside the top 10 at that point, or around there.
We bumped it. Yeah.
I was super high just because it was the first live event in forever. The trip was awesome. The crowd in that moment was awesome after everything was shut down and there were no events and everything.
Yeah.
I think last year when we redid it for 38, we dropped 37 with some
Yeah.
retrospect. And we have 37 and 38 at 14, 15. We ended up putting them back to back. I think we went 38 because of the moment of Austin and all that. I think that's why we ended up.
Yeah. And Cody.
Yeah, I think 38 had we said 38 had the moments, but 37 had the more balanced in ring. I think is kind of where we're at with that. So I think this is better than those, I think, for sure.
I don't know. Perhaps. But it's like I remember after 38, I was excited. Like I was like, I wasn't like, oh, it's the best, but I was like, oh, it's cool. I was into it. You know what I mean?
So what's
like,
38 have that this doesn't? You got the Cody return
yeah.
and the Austin moment, right? So those are big. There wasn't really a lot of surprises on this show.
No.
Besides Shane, McAfee. Was that it? That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
But I think this in-ring, I think, kind of blows 38 up. I think
the in-ring does.
Yeah, the Sheamus match is, I mean, I'm probably a 5 or 4 3/4, right? Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
The 4-way 4 tag, I think was like at least 4. I think both main events were great, even if we don't, however you feel with the finish of Cody Roman, I think it was great wrestling theater, especially the ending stretch, like the last 10 minutes or so were great.
Yeah.
Rhea Charlotte was great.
I think Rhea Charlotte was incredible.
Dom Ray was awesome. Paul Rollins was really, really good. There wasn't like even Brock Omos was like 4 minutes. I mean, so like that was fine. The women's 4-way kind of stunk.
Yeah, but that's because there's bad people in it.
Everyone knew it was going to stink. And then the Trish match, I'd say underwhelmed. But Trish's bombs carried that.
That she was throwing.
I'll just say it. She, brought me right back to 2001. So I don't know. Like, I don't think there was a real bad match on the show, and I don't think I could say that for 38. And I think the main event of night 2 for sure blew away, like Roman Brock.
I agree. I agree that it's a much stronger in-ring show. It might be the strongest in-ring show ever.
Yeah.
But every time we even in all of our things we rank, that's always the last. It's always like the worst of the categories, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
But I do like the other stuff for this. I thought it was a well-built Mania. I thought there was a lot of excitement. It has the star power. It had a hot atmosphere and crowd.
yeah.
Aftermath will be TBD, especially for the rain stuff. But I think it has a lot of the other stuff. It had moments in it. It may not be surprises, but it still
Yeah.
had really cool moments. Like the Logan Paul jump onto the bottle was cool. McAfee's return still got a big pop. Shane Terriger's quad, for better or worse, was a moment. Finn getting sliced to the head was nasty. Like that was a moment. So I don't know. Like, and Sammy and KO winning is a great moment. Cena Theory sucked. I mean, is what it is. But Cena clearly mailed it in. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I like it as a show. I'm not trying to be a slave to the moment. I think I'd have it
Oh,
above.
no, no.
And I went to 37, 38. I'm willing to put it above those. Those are special to me, especially 37. 25 we just covered on Place to Be. I really liked it a lot. I scored it high. Like I think it's a great show.
Mhm.
I wasn't as down on Hunter Orton as probably in the past. Just looking at glance, I think I'd move it ahead of 21,
Okay.
maybe ahead of 23. I'm talking about
25.
25, not 39.
Um.
I think I liked
Yeah.
it better than 24 for PTB, honestly.
Look. Yeah.
I was low on Flair Shawn, though. I know that.
Mm.
But yeah, I think I
I'm
have
fine.
25 top 10.
Okay. Put it there if you want.
Move 24 and 23 and 21 all straight down.
Sure. We can discuss the order. It's such a shame 21 has like
Yeah,
those
that's what
main
I
events don't deliver.
So in conscious, I can't. Let's put aside your personal like feel about how you're feeling coming out of that show. But even me, as someone who doesn't feel that way, I don't think I could put it above 7 and 8.
No, I can't.
And I think it has to do with some of the dips in night 2 and not giving the Cody moment. Even though I don't disagree that the Reigns thing could still be great. Like I'm okay with it. I just think that
Yeah.
Cody moment could have put it into that Daniel Bryan.
Yep.
And we don't want to admit it.
You
Benoit.
leave. Yeah.
Yeah.
You leave the show feeling good.
Right. So I honestly think if Cody wins, which is crazy to say that moment hinges so much, but I think it goes to the feel good section, which is like 30, 20, 10.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, 8 is
Yeah.
such a 2-match show. Like, I don't know, maybe it is better. I don't it's like 8 is all Flair, Savage, and Hart Piper and nothing else. Ray Combs. Like, that's it.
Perfect. I don't think it's that. Like, I don't think it's just that. I mean, Seven's got some. I don't love Seven as much as you. I think it's a very good show. I think it's where it is.
Well,
but
7, I think the argument is for me and you, a top 2 match of all time in Warrior Savage, plus a really, really good main event. In a great atmosphere.
Yeah, I guess it's just like I think the 2 top matches on 8 are like it's like Warrior and Savage is like the best match, but then the next 2 are 8. Maybe
Right.
that's what we did when we put it that way. I know I have personal feelings.
I think we have 10 and 8. I think we have 10 and 8 back to back by design, right? Because they both are like two match shows. I think 10's 2 matches are just better
Okay, I
than
see.
8's.
Okay.
I mean, I think 22 is probably a little high. I know you love that show, and it's really good. I don't know. I can see an argument for 39 being as high as 8 on this list. I don't think I can put it past 10 just because of Bret Owen and Razor Shawn, which I have both at 5. And this has 1 5-star to me, I think. Just a Sheamus. I could see a world where it's ahead of 8, 7, 25, 24, blah, blah, blah. I could see a world where it's below. To me, I think it's at least above that 24, 23, 21 stretch. I think 39. I'd at least have it above those. I'd have to think about 25. 25's got Taker, Shawn, great Money in the Bank, Jericho stuff, a Hardy match.
Hardy's.
I don't know. What do you think about putting it 11th?
I'm fine with that.
Above that 24, 25, 23,
Yeah.
21 group.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like, look, if I was personally ranking it, it'd probably be much lower, but
Right.
it's just because of how I feel after watching it, right? So yeah, that makes sense to me. If you want to put it there,
What about above? What about moving 25 above 7 and putting 39 between them? That feels dirty. I don't think it's better than 25, but I think it could be better than 7 and 8
no, I think 7 and 8 are better than 25
and 39.
for me. Yeah, but
How about 25 versus 39?
I mean, I feel like the negative on both of them kind of like washes away. You know, like
Right.
I don't think the Hell in a Cell was garbage or anything, but I personally did not enjoy it
Right.
because of what it
Yeah,
was.
but I think it's
But
better
like,
than Triple
you know,
H Orton probably, and I'd even hate Triple H Orton.
yeah, but yeah, I would say that. But then again, like it's like I feel like 25 is like another show you leave in a pretty good mood after watching it.
Yeah.
Like I remember being excited live. So like again, it's such a hard comparison for me at this point because like
Well,
like I said,
yeah. The hard thing too is the 2-night, right? Because I think, if you looked at this show as a whole long one, if you watch it in one sitting, you may feel differently too, right?
yeah,
I think that hurt shows like 33, 34, 35. Like if you were to take those and split them and watch them in two, if I watched 34, one half Saturday and one half on a Sunday, and did the same for 38, 39, would I feel like I do, right? Or are those because you'd have to watch them kind of in one setting? It's a drag, everyone's burnt. Whereas
right,
39 gets the bonus of not having that because it's it's still almost 4-hour shows, but it's filled with great stuff and you get to rest in between. So
right.
I don't know. It is. You could argue that we shouldn't rank any of the 2 nights against the 1 nights. I mean, you could say that like it's almost a completely different animal.
Well, and it's also like it's hard. It's really hard to rank 39 against 7.
Yeah,
Like it's almost a complete. Not
right. It's not
almost.
even
It's
the
a
same thing.
complete. It's not even the same product, right? So then at that point, it's just okay. What are you valuing more,
Right.
right? Are you,
What would you rather watch? And we
yeah,
know it's 7. Yeah.
that's it. But it's also not fair because you say, what would you rather watch? Well, I don't want to sit through 8 hours,
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
So
I mean,
and
the
it's
best if you wanted to watch the best of the shows, I mean, 39 may win. I don't know. And I think what helps 39 versus the other ones is not really not bad. I know you didn't like the
yeah,
cell, but I really don't think the cell was bad. Like I
no,
think it had the potential to be bad, and it wasn't bad.
yeah,
So if you don't care about the Cody finish, to me, I could see an argument where if you're into the current day product, like say, like we know, not the Tool Man, right? Mr.
Mhm.
Taylor's into the current day stuff, like Logan. Like there are guys that really like the current day WWE or whatever, and
Mhm.
I think you could see an argument that if you like it, there's really not anything bad on it, and you're invested in it. I could see it being in that 5 to 7 range. Like I could, because I think it's a bunch of great matches. It's a hot crowd. That it was a good build. Um, I could see the argument to be that high. And if Rhodes would have won and you had the celebration, for sure, I think it's with the Daniel Bryan, Benoit, Brett conglomerate of 10, 20, 30, where you
Yeah,
get that big feel good moment plus a bunch of awesome matches. I think that brings it down a bit. I think you and I not being as involved in the product probably hurts it a touch.
yep,
I think it's right in here. I think it's somewhere around 7 and 25.
yeah.
Chad's watching. I don't know if he's awake still. Chad just covered WrestleMania 25 with us on the Place to Be podcast. What's your gut reaction, Chad? If you're listening, put it in the chat. Because I'm curious your take, where you'd have it. Because I know you watched 39, and I know we just watched 25 together.
Mm.
But again, like I said, I was high on 25. I think I went like 8 out of 10 or something on it. Chad has 25 ahead. Would you have 39 ahead of the other group? That 24, 23, 21? I know Chad's a big 24 fan.
Right.
Like I
Joe?
said, I wasn't high on it because I wasn't as high on Flair Sean.
Right.
Yeah, he's a 23 and 24 guy.
Yeah. I like 23 and 24 a lot. I just like it's another one of those times where like at that period I wasn't watching. I was just some pay-per-views. So I'm just not connected to it. And I think that's why I don't have them as I'm not as gung-ho about them.
I think for the purposes of this, I liked 25. So I'm gonna stick with that and put it at 10. I think I would put this at 11.
Go for it.
I think there, and if I watch it again and feel good, I could maybe see it moving as high as like above 7 and 8. I don't know if I can get ahead of 10 for me.
Yeah.
And personally, I think I'd have it above. I could maybe get it to 22, but I would have 22 probably lower.
Wow.
I know. That's yours, right? That's yours. So look at mine. WrestleMania 6 all the way down 19. Somehow my favorite show is in the fucking toilet, and yours is 6.
I don't think 22 is not my favorite show. I just think it's really like I think it's just loaded with great matches. Like
it is really good.
Yeah.
I think if this is mine and just in a blink, I think I would drop 22. I'd have 10, and then 8, 7, 39 in some group, and then 25, 22, something like that.
Yeah, if this was mine, I'd have 22 higher. I think I'd have 22 third.
I think you could argue 20, maybe a little high.
Yeah, well, you're talking last time a lot about your personal attachment to it, but then we went through the matches. It makes total sense that it's there.
It is really good. Yeah, it's almost like a sneaky prototype of the Marathon Manias later.
Yeah. What is it? 5? It's 5 hours, right?
No, I think it's like 4 something, but
Yeah.
But Eddie Angle. It's got the Rock and Sock. It's got Jericho Christian. It's got the main event. However, we feel about that. Taker's return. So there's a lot of good stuff in there.
Yeah. Ultimate
Cena's
Dragon
moment.
Tripping.
Yes, that's the Shane quad of that show. All right, so should we just do the full list quick before we go?
Yeah.
All right, listen, before that, though, subscribe if you're watching on video. You can find all of our content, audio and video, at northsouthconnection.com. Most of it's simulcast. We do a lot of cool video stuff now that's like short, quick hits that doesn't air audio. So just make sure you subscribe so you get the notifications. Leave us a comment, please, as well. Let us know what you think of these, and we really appreciate the support. We're on social media, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. All right, so here's our all-time WrestleMania list. You and I combine. Our last show, which goes converse to War. For those that have listened to WWE War every other Thursday, Marcus and I had the show finished pretty high on our list because it is loaded with moments, and we reward moments and crowd reaction and atmosphere. All that stuff gets rewarded heavily on War, and WrestleMania 32 finished pretty high for us. For me and you, though, we have it as the worst Mania.
Are you sure you want to sell War? Yeah, we got a 32. And then right above 32 of WrestleMania 1.
Above that is WrestleMania 9.
WrestleMania 11.
WrestleMania 2.
4.
WrestleMania 27.
WrestleMania 2000.
Yeah. WrestleMania 15 at 30.
29 is WrestleMania 29.
Yep, very fittingly. Then we have WrestleMania 35, the 2 MetLife ones.
Yeah, WrestleMania 12.
Then WrestleMania 13.
And 26. That's our 25th best.
Wow, I'm surprised we're that low in 26, I guess. We have right above that, we have 34.
Yeah, and above that, 14.
That seems crazy. We gotta revisit this. At 22, we have 33.
At 21, 5.
Our 20th best WrestleMania of all time is 18.
And 19th is WrestleMania 6, so we put the Toronto ones together.
18 is WrestleMania 28.
17 is WrestleMania 31.
Also feels a little low. WrestleMania 37 is our 16th best show.
38 is 15th.
And then at 14 is WrestleMania 21.
At 13, WrestleMania 23.
At 12, WrestleMania 24.
At 11, what we talked about all night, WrestleMania 39.
At 10, WrestleMania 25.
At 9, WrestleMania 7.
At 8, WrestleMania 8.
7, WrestleMania 10.
At 6, WrestleMania 22.
5, WrestleMania 20.
Our 4th best Mania of all time is WrestleMania 30.
Our 3rd is WrestleMania 3.
And our 2nd, controversially or not, WrestleMania 17.
Which leaves the winner, WrestleMania 19.
Still number one. I think I went to bed on Saturday night after night one thinking 19's run may come to an end. That's where I was at, my headspace, honestly, at the end of that night. So, all right, that was fun. Our yearly exercise ranking the current Mania against the past. We'll be back next week with another draft, and then in 2 weeks, we'll resume our greatest world title change ever project. Until then, the Dookie's been dropped. Continue to check out everything on South Connection, and we'll talk to you later. Thank you.
Bye, Jock.